If you'll stand with me, Mayor, do the invocation and the pledge.
Please follow me. Lord, thank you for just another wonderful day. Thank you for where we live. Thank you for the city of Sebring. We appreciate what you bestowed upon us, and we're honored to make it move under your direction. We ask that you watch over all our staff, all our first responders, and our council tonight to make the true and right decisions. We ask that all we do in your name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Schutz.
Here.
Detman.
Here.
Ivy.
Here.
Lorenz.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Carlisle.
Here. If there's anyone here that's not on the agenda that would like to come before us, if you'll see Clerk Haley, she'll get you set up. Mayor's report.
Just a good report on the race this weekend. It went off without a hitch. We actually see our COVID numbers coming down this week, so I think it helps to be active, kind of. We'll see in the next few days what happens, but the race, we had great weather for the race. Probably, I'd estimate maybe a 50% attendance, so it was a good attendance. People were very pleased, I think, just to be able to get out and do something normal. So it was really nice. The track, kudos to the track for doing what they did. They were taking temperatures of everybody that came in. They were, trying to encourage people to social distance and wear masks. I know if you got into the pit area, you had to wear a mask, and they pretty much held to that rule. When you got out to Green Park, you were wearing other things, but all in all, it was really a showcase event for the city of Sebring. Got to talk to some pretty famous drivers that were there, including Mario Andretti, who was just very pleased at the way the race came off. And he went to the Indy 500, and he said there was nobody there, and he said it was just atrocious. He said it was just a hard race to watch, not knowing that the people couldn't come to that race. So he was very happy to see what it was. He was happy to see how the track was handling the pandemic issues and that stuff. And they did they tried hard at making it as safe as they can. But they did a good job, and it was good to see the people come to town and the race to be pulled off. So that's all I have.
Okay. Council's report.
Yeah, I have from the CRA as a liaison to the CRA, just wanted to pass along to everybody that might not know, they did take title to the Nansasui Hotel, and so the city will not have to incur the cost directly to have that demolished. So we're looking forward to that, them moving forward on that and looking for new uses for that property once the building is demolished.
Thank you, John.
No report.
I have no report.
Okey dokey. That takes care of the council. I just want to say thank you for everybody coming here tonight. We have a consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Any comments on the consent agenda from the audience, from up here? All the board, Kathy.
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lorenz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. No old business, so we'll go to 10A. It's a public hearing, ordinance 1460, vacating a portion of road right-of-way, Henry Crutchfield Properties. Purpose of this hearing, the city is considering an ordinance which is passed will vacate the undeveloped portion of the road right-of-way owned by Crutchfield family. The ordinance was passed on first reading, City Council, November the 3rd, 2020 meeting. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive comments from the following. The public hearing and ordinance will be considered on second and final reading. Mr. Swain?
The requested right-of-way to be vacated is a portion of Lake Drive that's never been developed, and it's lying entirely within the property of the applicant, Mr. Crutchfield. This property has been notice was posted. And this is basically the intersection of Lake Drive and Lucerne Drive. The right-of-way would run to the northwest of that intersection, again entirely within Mr. Crutchfield's real property.
All right.
Mr. Abels is here, if council has any questions of the applicant. What we have done, as you may recall, is there is an old sewer line there. They've worked to have that surveyed or located, and we're gonna have an easement from Mr. Crutchfield, and once we've got that, we would then be ready for you all to abandon it. I'll get to it a little bit later. For public hearing purposes, that's where we are.
Okay. Anyone? Kurt? Anyone from the audience? Public hearing is over. 10B, ordinance number 1460, vacating portion of road right-of-way, Henry Crutchfield property, second reading. At your October 6, 2020 meeting, council received a request from Cliff Abels, representing the Crutchfield family, to begin the process to vacate undeveloped portions of the road right-of-way on their property. Ordinance number 1460 was passed on first reading at your November 3rd, 2020 meeting and is on the agenda for second and final readings. Staff recommendation as option 1. If the easement issue is not resolved, continue second reading to the ordinance of the easement received. Option 2, if the easement issue is resolved, pass the ordinance on second and final reading.
We'd ask for you to take option 1, and that is to table this matter until your December 1 meeting. That's your next meeting, at which time we should have the easement issues fully resolved and be ready for council to consider it on second and final reading.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion using option number 1. If the easement issue is not resolved, continue second reading of the ordinance until an easement is received.
I'll second.
Okay, any comments from the audience?
And that's, just to be clear, that's to December 1st,
Yes.
2020, so I can get
Yes. Kathy, poll the board.
Devin,
Yes.
Ivy,
Yes.
Lance,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Clyde.
Yes. Okay, 10C, public hearing ordinance number 1456, annexing property on US Highway 27, the Aldi area. Purpose of this hearing, the city is considering annexing properties on US 27 North in the Aldi supermarket area. The property consists of 9 parcels totaling 12.51 acres. More than 50% of the total area and 50% of the owners have consent to the annexation. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive public comments. Following the public hearing, the council will consider ordinance 1456 on first reading. Mr. Swain?
May be helpful if we give it just a minute. Mr. Anderson's going to bring up a map
Okay.
for the benefit of the public. There's going to be 4 areas that will be considered by council this evening. This is the northernmost. We're referring to it as the Aldi area. Aldi is the northernmost green. It's not everything you see on that map. It's just the portion that's within a black outlined boundary. Aldi is the furthest north green item. So this is bringing in the lots just north of that, 3 lots north of Aldi, and then down. Was that the Renner Center? So no.
Just north of Home Depot.
Yeah. And then you'll see 1 parcel across on the east side of US 27, just so everybody's oriented as to which area. We're going to have separate public hearings and separate ordinances for each of the 4 areas that are under consideration for annexation.
Okay, anyone from the public want to comment? Any comments, questions? Yes, ma'am. Come to the podium, please. Tell us who you are, please.
I'm Virginia Haymaker. My husband and I owned the property, the first parcel that's in 1456. That's our southernmost part of what used to be Heartland Motors. Right now we have sheds there. Anyhow, we bought that property originally in 1987, and we leased the property that you're trying to annex right now. We had a very successful business there, and we retired in 2006. And the next year, and we sold the business, not the property. Next year, there was what they called a Great Recession starting. And so we had a hard time after a few years. I mean, we leased it to Danny McPhail, who was our former general manager, and then he found his own property. And we had a hard time finding a tenant because of the recession. And things went, we had regular tenants every year. We had tent sales, and that worked fine because Larry and I are we're retired, and we're living here in Sebring and then up in the mountains. So we didn't want to have a full-time tenant. Anyhow, it worked out great that we could have these tent sales, and people came back year after year because it was a terrific location. Well, then recently, about 2 years ago, the County of Highlands changed the rules for tent sales, and the people could only have a tent 2 weeks a year, twice a year. So there went our business. You know, we had fireworks, we had Christmas trees, we had tool tents, furniture. You know, I was always scrambling for a tenant. We've had a produce stand that's been on there for, I think, about 8 years now. And we don't charge them a lot, but what their rent always paid for the taxes and the insurance on the property. In 2017, after the hurricane, we lost our buildings, a portion of that, and they weren't safe, so we removed those, which made it more saleable, we thought, without having some modular buildings on there, because whoever was gonna buy our 2.3 total acres for the 3 parcels that we own, would probably wanna build their own building anyhow. So, we listed it, we've had it listed with either 5 or 6 different commercial realtor brokers, some out of state and mostly, you know, in Florida. And we've had probably 5 or 6 contracts on the property, and each contract ended up dissolving because we couldn't have a guarantee of water and sewer. We did have a letter from Mr. Bogus that city water was available, but they said there was no sewer there. And since we own the property for 32 years, we know that there used to be a sewer line. I think my husband called it a forced sewer line in front of us when the restaurant that where Aldi's is, or years ago there was like a country type restaurant, and the sewer broke and it was bubbling raw sewage in front of us. But nobody ever said that they would give us sewer. They said no, it's just not available unless you want to at your own expense go where Aldi's is, go under the road, bring it over. And of course there was Jimmy Hayes and then the doctor that has the blue building next to us. And you know, we didn't need it. We had a perfectly good septic tank with a lift station. We had a well. Culligan used to come in and take care of our water, so we didn't really need it. We washed the cars, you know, when we had it, and we were doing fine. But now, you know, everybody that wants our property, and there's a lot of them. We've talked to fast food restaurants. I mean, I hate to throw out names because a lot of the developers don't want to tell you actually who was going to be building there, but we have some plans like the Golden Corral, for example, and I know that's a laugh because they have been to a lot of different parcels in Sebring, but from the day that we retired, they were trying to buy our property. But they only wanted a portion of it, and then they wanted control of who, for the next 40 years, who could buy the property remaining and all, and we just weren't even interested. So, you mentioned something about 51% of the parcels, there had been, I think it's called the Declaration of Annexation, you know, we had talked about, and we're one of the few, 30-some years ago, a group of us, Frank Celentano and John Griffin, Russ Albritton, Eldridge Pollard, we all fought the annexation because of the taxes. You know, at that time, we all had businesses and we were doing well and didn't really need it, and we were successful in fighting it. Well, you know, now I'm 73, Larry's 71, and the parcels of property that we had bought over a period of time, we bought from elderly people, mostly deceased heirs, because, you know, they were all vacant land. We took great care of the land. We never did any service work on it. I know, I was smart enough to know that you don't change oil on property, you don't dump stuff on your property, you take it as a steward of that property. And so it was all virgin land, and it's still in excellent condition. Now, I was trying to come up with what I wanted to say to you all, and I was appealing, like, we're in a strange time right now. You know, years ago when we retired, we were in this beginning of this Great Recession, and now we're under this last, 9-10 months now of this COVID restriction. And we had a new tenant that came in March of this year, and we had a very nice lease worked out, and it was for a 2-year lease with a 3rd year, and then he wanted to buy the property. Well, it was a great figure. We were all happy with it. And then when the COVID virus came, I mean, Larry and I cut the rent right in half just to keep him there. We didn't want him to be discouraged and say, I'm not gonna come. The produce stand that's been there for so many years, we cut their rent almost in half. And, you know, we have still not charged anybody the full rent and don't intend to. I mean, if we can help them stay in business during these times, we're going to. But the taxes on the highway are not cheap. And I do understand now, just as of today, that you're only trying to annex one of our parcels. But I looked up on Ashley Moody's website today, the State Attorney General's website, about contiguous parcels owned by the same owner. And, you know, that if we sold our property, you know, I know that we're gonna wanna sell all 3. We don't wanna piecemeal them. You know, it is a total of 2.3 acres. And I'm sure that if the right company came in, you know, they're gonna be willing to pay a lot of money, but right now is not the time to do it for us. I also, on looking up the State Attorney General's website today, I looked up the state law about prerequisites to annexation. And it said, prior to commencing the annexation procedures, the governing body of the municipality shall prepare a report setting forth the plans to provide urban services to any area to be annexed, and the report shall include the following. Now, I don't see this, but it says a map of the municipalities and adjacent territory showing the present and proposed municipal boundaries, the present major trunk water mains and sewer interceptors and outfalls, the proposed extension of such mains and outfalls as required in paragraph C, and the general land use pattern in the area to be annexed. It also, I've known Mr. Swain for a long time. You know, I'm a little bit nervous quoting any laws when I know that there's attorneys here.
You're doing good so far.
Yeah, well, you know, it says provide for extending urban services except as otherwise provided here into the area to be annexed on the date of annexation on substantially the same basis and in the same manner as such services are provided with the rest of the municipality prior to annexation. And when it says otherwise provided, I'm interpreting it as before or after annexation. And it also says that they must provide for the extension of existing municipal water and sewer services into the area to be annexed, so that when such services are provided, property owners in the area to be, future tense, annexed, will be able to secure public water and sewer service according to the policies in effect in such municipality for extending water and sewer lines to individual lots or subdivisions. All right, I've got a lot more, but it doesn't really need to be spoken because I have talked with Mr. Nate Lick, and I've talked to some of the commission members or the council members, and we are not opposed to having our property annexed, but we want water and sewer. And the law also states very clearly in there that verbal promises are not enforceable, that you have to get it in writing, because I've heard this for years. Well, go ahead, and eventually someday you're gonna have water and sewer. I've heard that the last week too. Well, we're talking about it. Well, if it's in writing, Larry and I will sign up, but right now, unless we know and unless it's provided to us, we're gonna oppose this. I read the paper today and it made me wonder why Home Depot and the mall and the shops of Shelby Crossing they've all got water and sewer, and I'm sure that they're paying a premium for the water because of the, oh, I forgot what it's called right now, but a little bit extra over and above because they're not annexed into the city. But I think it's the city of Sebring's fault that you're not collecting the taxes. I know you need money to run a city. I've lived in Sebring 47 years. You know, I'm not new to this area. I've seen the growth, but I haven't seen a lot of growth for quite a while now. When Larry and I were gonna retire, Sam's Club had just bought the parcel across from our property. And like I said, we've got 2.3 acres between Walmart and Home Depot and Aldi's. And we're thinking, holy mackerel, you know, this is just a great retirement thing. And y'all know what happened with Sam's Club. I mean, it's just not happening. I read the paper, I read every day online, and young people in this area are always saying there's nothing to do here. You know, I personally love Sebring. I think the shopping is great, especially since Shelby Crossing has been there. And we don't go out of town very much to buy anything. You know, we're not opposing what you're trying to do, but we want something for it. You know, I first was telling Mr. Natelick about taxation with no representation. And then I looked up what that really meant, and that's not exactly what I thought it meant. You know, it was back when the colonists were fighting back in the 1700s, and they didn't have any say over this. But on the other hand, when I started looking on the different lawsuits that were against the city of Sebring, for example, you know, that's been used in there, taxation with representation. There was one other thing there, that you actually have the obligation to tell me when you're gonna have it. And the thing that I said I didn't see on the map is I didn't see the trunk lines for the water or the sewer. They might be there, but you can't really tell on something there, you know. And that's all we wanna know. We want something for, if we're gonna pay more money, we want to have something for it.
Could you please show me what your property is, where your property is?
Yes. Our property is this lot here, and this lot, and this lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Did you know there was a sewer line there at one time?
Only after speaking with.
This is not the map that shows the sewer and water.
Right,
It's
but
a
she was
separate
saying there
map.
was, she said there was a force main and that.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I remember the restaurant,
Yeah.
but.
There's definitely water on the back side of her lot.
Right,
She's got-
right,
There's a
right.
4-inch line right there, so
Yeah.
she could have water.
Right.
I have a letter saying that we can have water, if that's not the issue so
Right.
much.
Right.
Originally, we were told that we had to bring it from across the highway under the 6 lanes of highway. And then, you know, because we do have that letter that we would give any of the interested parties.
Right.
And the 4-inch line behind, Mr. Natelick told us today that
Yeah.
that would be sufficient for most businesses. But again, most businesses want bathrooms.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have comment? Councilman, any comment?
Well, my only question is, have we done what we're supposed to do legally in preparation for this? We have. It's been all posted,
If you
everything.
look in your package, you'll see
Yeah.
the
Well,
the map that shows where all the
And it was in the
lines are.
newspaper. It was posted in the
Yes.
newspaper, so it was public notice of that. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Ivy?
I know better, but
Go ahead.
is it our intent, though, that all these properties we annex, those that don't have water, everybody's gotta have water and sewer, it's gonna be in the business there. Is it our intent that we're going to put that there, even though we haven't done it in writing yet? Well, maybe we need to do that to satisfy people if that's our intent.
The law specifies that you'll
Yeah,
do that.
exactly, and so,
She didn't need it in writing. The law says that's what you
Right.
gotta do.
so it's kind of a silence there
But
toward
it's
what
the
the sewer
same-
was about.
But it's the same way that you have to do it for everybody in the city.
Mm.
And so, like my house, I can't get sewer unless I have a package lift plant that pumps it up to Lakeview,
Yeah.
cause I'm downhill.
Yeah, right.
But yes, they can get sewer and they can get water. And most of it's in down there, on those, on all this stuff you're looking at, water and sewer is
No,
very
yeah.
close.
So it's fair to say that the sewer's gonna go in there for their property? Is that a fair statement? or-
When they need it, I don't think you have to put it in hopes they need it someday.
Yeah.
May I?
If it makes it marketable, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. When we lived on Lake Jackson, our original house didn't have water and, well, we had city water, but we
Yeah.
didn't have the sewer. And they put the sewer in, and of course we connected, I think it was $1,200. But our neighbor, who ended up passing at 106 years of age, she never paid the money. I mean, she didn't have the money to do that. But I know that it says here about a surcharge. If you don't connect, you don't have to, but you're gonna pay for the services anyhow. And here, one statement I forgot to mention says, until further clarification is provided regarding city's authority to mandate annexation, offering incentives to utility customers to annex is the only safe alternative for municipal utilities. Cities have provided many of the following incentives to try to achieve annexation, imposing a high utility surcharge on non-residents, and they just say different things that they do. But when you mentioned about when I mentioned about having the maps with the sewer and all, I got the notice in the mail, and then of course, yes, it was in the newspaper, but we couldn't read the newspaper, so we came and spoke with Mr. Natelick, and he was very, very kind and spent time with us and showed us the actual maps. But if you see this map here, nothing is mentioned about the proposed sewer, or where it would be connected. I just know that when we were told if we wanted it, we could go over to by Aldi's, and we could pay to bring it in front of Jimmy Hayes and in front of the doctor and to our property. But I spoke to both Jimmy Hayes and the doctor, and I don't know if they're here, but nobody was really interested in doing that. They all had septic tanks and wells and didn't need it. And we didn't want to pay for it if we were going to be the only one to pay for it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Close public hearing. Okay, 10D, ordinance 1456, annexing property on US 27, the Aldi area, first reading. Background attached, please find ordinance 1456. This ordinance will annex property on US Highway 27 in the north, 27 north in the Aldi supermarket area. The property consists of 9 parcels totaling 12.51 acres. The ordinance is on your agenda for first reading. Second and final reading will be December the 1st. Any comments from the audience? Okay, we'll
Time,
go,
please,
yeah,
sir.
sorry.
Ordinance number 1456 on your agenda for first reading is entitled an ordinance annexing the property on US Highway 27 North in the Aldi area lying in a portion of the west one-half of Section 23, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, into the city of Sebring, Florida, and establishing an effective date.
Any comments? So, my question is, we annex this, they will get sewer when they need it.
You can put sewer
The-
whenever you want to put sewer.
Right.
And you'll have sewer customers forevermore.
Yeah, the
Which
answer
is a
is
good
yes.
thing.
Well,
If you can-
the
if you
thing
can-
I'm
you got
understanding
to
is
be
it's a
able to-
law.
You have to get to it. Yes, you have to provide them with water and sewer and all other services that you provide to anybody in town. If you were in town and have somebody in town and they want sewer, if you can get it to them, for example, you didn't have to come in to my house and put a
Oh.
package plant down there
Right.
to pump sewer back up to Lakeview.
Right.
I could either do that or put a septic tank in. I elected to put a septic tank in. But yes, if you can get sewer to them, under the normal city rules, yes. And if Ms. Haymaker gets, somebody comes in and wants to build a nice complex there and willing to annex those other 2 lots, to get it, then I'm sure you'll make arrangements.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question in that regard, though.
Yes, sir.
If, just with the one lot that is getting annexed now, in order for her to get sewer, she will have to pay for it, is that correct?
No.
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 Okay, so the city will have to provide sewer to
If you,
her?
if you can get it to her in the same way you get it to other city residents, that's what the law says. And if you had a problem where you couldn't get it there, like in my house, you can't get it there without spending an excess amount of money just to pump one house back up, then the city can say, no, you're gonna have to help on this.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little confused then.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can the city have her help, or does the city have to pay for it at her request?
Depends on the situation.
Okay,
I mean,
The developers typically pay to connect their lot to existing city facilities or extend those facilities so that they can connect them. It is across the street, it's across a really big street.
right.
I don't think the city has to do it, but the city certainly can put it in. If, for instance, you have trouble getting right-of-way, easement permissions to put it in for these 3 lying north of Aldi, you're not required to go take it by eminent domain just to make sure each of those lots has sewer.
So the city doesn't have to put it in at the city's expense?
you have to provide services on the same basis you provide them to everybody else in the city. And that is, in my case, it was gonna cost the city way too much money to put in a pumping plant down there for one house, pump it up the hill.
Right.
And so you said no, and so
And so
Had
the
to put it
city
in
still
separate.
has a right to say no to her?
but that's what the law says, is in the same way you provide it to other people in the city.
Okay, so some of the people we provided at our expense, some of the people, they have to pay it at their expense?
Almost everybody has to pay something, but it's not.
Okay.
There's big connection charges just for anybody that
Yeah.
Yeah.
connects into the city system. I think it's beneficial to put that line in to pick up those customers, because there'll always be, customers.
Because you can add customers to it.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
you
I
know,
understand.
and I'm sure she doesn't, when she needs it, then she's gonna ask you for it, and you're gonna look at it and say, okay, we can do that, because we're gonna pick you, like Bob says, it's gonna be customers forever
Right.
on your line.
And I don't know that you would run sewer over to essentially a vacant parcel.
Right.
You wanna know what size, what needs there, that property is gonna be built out to as you size lines.
Right.
You have to have a
I
capacity.
mean, we've got a couple questions to answer there. One being is whether or not we can do it by gravity or whether it's gonna be a force main. That'd be the first question we'd have to tackle. If it's gonna be a force main, you gotta know what use or what uses are gonna be on that
Right.
line in order to size the force main properly. So I think there's, we've got additional follow-up to do to determine, how we would get sewer there. Obviously, it sounds as if there may have been a force main there before. I'm gonna make a dangerous presumption that may have connected into Dixon Pugh's old system. We need to take a look at that and see, how it got to Dixon's system that we acquired. And you see whether we can follow the same path. But we've got some, I'm gonna say, engineering work to do to take a look and see how we would provide sewer to that parcel. And when you're doing that, you might as well, try to provide it to all the parcels along there at the same time.
Belabor this one more question here, I guess. So it's fair to say that if they sold or had an offer on their property, they could tell a potential buyer with enough, I guess, assurance that that's gonna go through, that they could get water and sewer if they build there.
What they normally do is if they have a buyer, the buyer then asks, our water and sewer department, says, this is how many people we're gonna serve, this is the capacity we need, can you provide it? And they come back and say, yes, we can. And this is what it takes to do that.
Yeah, so they don't have to say you can't get there from here,
Right.
Is there a limit to the number of times I can come to the podium? I've got one other thing.
It wasn't a limit.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, come on up.
I think
this is important because you're not just providing sewer to us. We're the third lot in. You know, Jimmy Hayes has been here for a long time. George Aldrich owned that property before him. I don't know the doctor's name. It used to be the bank that was there. And then our property, Pontius, and then that little strip shopping center. So if you brought water to us, I guess I asked Mr. Niglick why it was ending. Well, I didn't know it was ending here until today. Well, yesterday when I spoke to Mr. Stewart, you mentioned the one about the only one lot. I hadn't caught that when I originally looked at the proposal. But why aren't you thinking if you're gonna bring it there, of annexing everybody? They all need it.
And that is certainly what they were talking about doing. There's water that goes down the back part of your property, and so that's available. The reason we didn't want to take 2 more of your pieces of property is we didn't have your consent. And we can only take in, over 50%. We have to have more than 50% of the consents to take in less than 50% additional property.
Right, but
So we ran our
here's
parcel.
another proposal though. The man that I signed a lease with in March owns a large business. He's got a manufacturing plant that he just built on property that was worth $2.9 million down in Bonita Springs that he owned free and clear, and he took a loan to build his manufacturing plant. He has a store, or he has a lot down in Miami, and he has the lot on our place now. Very nice man, probably in his early 50s, and he wants to buy the property because it's a great location, and there are new mobile home parks and new RV resorts between here, Lake Wales, Zolfo Springs that are going in, and he has a big contract with a mobile home resort, not a mobile home, RV resort in Fort Myers, that he does all of the sheds. He does really nice business. So he just came on the picture, I'm gonna say through prayer, because like we need somebody to come and pay us some rent. And, I'd like to see him buy it if he wants to buy it. In the past, we had a lot of bigger businesses, developers out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and, New Jersey, and I think Virginia, but those aren't here now. It's like that we have a bird in the hand right now, and I don't wanna say to him, our property's worth more now, because we discussed a little bit, we talked about a certain price, and I don't wanna kick him off there. That's not the way we do business. We don't need to do that to anybody. That's why we cut the rent on everybody, because of the times that we're in right now. So, Mr. Ivy, you mentioned about, the different, businesses that might come in, and Mr. Niglick and I had talked about a CBDG or something,
CDBG
grant.
grant.
Okay, a grant that somebody could apply for, but I said, well, why don't we go ahead and apply for it now, and then we can say that the property, we have that guarantee, but they don't do it that way. They wanna know how many employees. If the man that's there now stays, he might have 3 employees, and that's not enough for this big grant. We had 12 employees when we were in business. But a bird in the hand, we have a tenant, and hopefully he will remain there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'm just curious if this is gonna happen.
You're gonna have to get up here to talk to us. And tell us who you are.
That's why it's recorded.
I'm sorry. My name is Jan Whitelaw. I live within the city limits. Anyway, I'm just wondering if this is gonna, I understand what this lady's saying. I'm not a political person at all. I came out of curiosity. Anyway, I wonder if it's gonna happen within her lifetime, that the city will supply the water and the septic they need to have these businesses going. That
The
was my-
water's there.
Okay,
The water's already there.
all right,
And like we've said, when she needs it, she'll get it.
all right.
Okay?
All right, thank
She'll
you.
still be alive. Thank you.
We don't know about Larry, but Jenny.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 1, first reading, this ordinance 1456 on first reading as presented and scheduled a second and final reading for December 1st, 2020.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy?
Denton. Yes. Heading.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, this is 10E, public hearing ordinance 1457, annexing property, US 27, Allen J. and IHOP area. The purpose of this hearing, the city is considering annexing the US 27 North and the Allen J. IHOP area. The property consists of 11 parcels totaling 16.4 acres. More than 50% of the total area and 50% of the owners have conceded to annexation. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments. Following the public hearing, the council will consider ordinance 1457 first reading. Mr. Swain?
So this is the southernmost area that the city is looking to annex or start the annexation process on. Again, the green parcels you see on the map in front of you have signed declarations of covenant to annex. The orange have not. The greens, there are more green parcels that have signed than orange, and the green is a larger land area than the orange. So annexation is legally permissible under the statutes.
Okay. Any public comments or input? I see some head shaking no. How about councilman's input and comment, questions? Nothing? Public hearing is closed. 10F, ordinance 1457, annexing property on US 27, Allen J. IHOP area, first reading. Attached, please find ordinance 1457. This ordinance will annex properties on US 27 north of the Allen J. IHOP area. The property consists of 11 parcels totaling 16.4 acres. The ordinance is on your agenda for first reading. Second final reading will be on December 1st, 2020. Okay, any comments?
Let me read the
Oh, I'm
while people
sorry.
are deciding if they wish to
Okay,
make a comment.
yeah.
The ordinance 1457 is entitled an ordinance annexing the property on US Highway 27 North in the Allen J. IHOP area lying in portions of the southwest quarter of Section 25 and the southeast quarter of Section 26, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, into the city of Sebring, Florida, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. I'm making the next one right. Any comments from the public? Any from council?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 1457 on first reading as presented and schedule second and final reading for December 1st, 2020.
You got a motion and a second, Kathy? Please poll the board.
Denton. Heading.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 10G, public hearing ordinance 1458, annex of property on US 27, Home Depot, Lowe's area. Purpose of this public hearing, the city is considering annexing on US 27 North in the Home Depot, Lowe's area. The property consists of 35 parcels totaling 159.16 acres. More than 50% of the total area and 50% of the owners consented to annexation. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments. Following the public hearing, council will consider ordinance 1458 on first reading. Mr. Swain.
Well, not to belabor the point, the greens you see on the map in front of you here are those that have consented, the orange are those that have not. The area that we're talking about is not the entire map, but only the portion that's within the black bounded area, lying on both the west and east side of 27. This is the largest of the four areas being annexed in. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yep. Anyone got any comments? Any input? No, Councilman?
Make a motion?
No, this
No,
is
this
a hearing.
Yeah, sorry.
This
Ahead of
hearing's
myself.
closed.
Ahead of myself.
Yeah, you're getting like me now. Okay, 10H, ordinance 1458, annexing property on US 27, Home Depot, Lowe's area, first reading. Attached, find ordinance 1458, the ordinance will annex property on US 27 North in the Home Depot, Lowe's area. The property consists of 35 parcels, totaling 159.16 acres. The ordinance is on your agenda for first reading, second and final reading will be December 1st, 2020. Mr. Swain.
Ordinance 1458 is entitled an ordinance annexing the property on US Highway 27 North in the Home Depot, Lowe's area lying in portions of Section 23 and Section 26, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, into the city of Sebring, Florida, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. Okay. Any public comments? Any councilman? Anybody got a motion? You
I
can-
want a false start again. I'll move that we approve ordinance 1458 on first reading as presented and schedule second and final reading for December 1st, 2020.
I second that.
Okay. Kathy?
Denton. Heidi.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes. Okay, item 10I, public hearing ordinance 1459, annexing property on US 27, Outback Pier 1 area. The purpose of this hearing, the city is considering annexing property on US 27 north of the Outback. Pier 1 area, the property consists of 21 parcels totaling 22.46 acres. More than 50% of the total area and 50% of the owners have consented to annexation. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive public comments. Following the public hearing, council will consider ordinance 1459. Mr. Swain.
Yes, sir. You'll see the map of this list, this fourth area that we're looking to annex this evening. And it begins at Vicky Drive on the south, going up both the east and west sides of 27. The lower or the southwestern portions are the out parcels of the mall, on up just past, I guess that's Robin Avenue on the north. Those darker blue parcels are two mobile homes that were just annexed into the city of Sebring recently. Again, the same thing with the green and the orange coloring on the parcels.
Any public comments or input? Yes, sir. Please tell us who you are.
Okay. My name is Billy Salentano. Me and my brother Frank own a piece of property right across from Chili's. My first question is, I'm a numbers person more than anything. How much will your taxes go up on a piece of property? Nobody's mentioned that. Nobody's mentioned how much it costs. Let's use a round number of $10,000 your taxes are today. What would the cost difference be being annexed into the city? And what would they give us for the extra money? What would we be getting from the city for the extra money that we're putting out? That's my question. We've had tenants in our place, some of them have been there over 20 years. Over 20 years, we have not raised people's rent a dime. We have taken the beating on the taxes that have gone up and the insurance and stuff like that on property. Where will we stand after this is over if we get annexed in? On a round number of $10,000, what would our taxes be tomorrow after that? I'm looking for a number, and I don't know what the number is. Does anybody?
I don't know that I can calculate it off the top of my head.
Well,
but I know
if
Randy
my phone, I have a
McIntyre
calculator
can.
on my phone, you can do it real quick. But is there like
Are you talking about the millage rate? or
No,
millage
I mean,
10,000?
millage don't mean that. I got all my tax bills here from the city. I got a bunch of property in the city, and it says on the bottom of every one, the city $357. What is that $357 from the city? I get from the city the bill, not from the county. What am I paying for in the city? Is it, like every month tax bill would say,
Which parcel are we talking
City of
about?
Sebring, $171.85. City of Sebring,
What's the line item say across on the other side of the paper?
City of Sebring,
That's
$1,300 something dollars.
That's probably the ad valorem tax.
Okay, now what is that now?
You're already paying, that parcel's already in the city.
Yeah.
Right, these
yeah,
are in the,
yeah.
these are my city bills I'm getting from all my city property.
Right.
Okay, what am I getting for that money? What if I get annexed in there, I'll get one of these numbers right here on the end of that new bill. What would I be getting?
You're gonna get city police protection, you're gonna get city fire protection,
But I've already got
He's looking for
fire.
the dollar number.
I've already got fire and
not the quality we'll give you.
you sure? What's the
Positive.
difference? I've been there for 45 years. I ain't had a problem with the cops yet. I mean,
Yeah.
my question is, we're all up here saying we're gonna bring you up, we're gonna do this and that. What am I getting different that I'm not getting now? I mean, that's my question.
Well, the fire department, the city has a manned fire department, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What you're getting now is probably West Sebring.
Right.
Okay, so, and I don't know what their new manning is now. In the past, it's a volunteer department, but then now it's a county department.
Okay.
So I don't know how many people are there or how many units they have that are manned 24/7. So you will get that.
Okay. And
Also,
when Jenny's talking about sewers, we have 15 tenants on this piece of property, and not an empty piece of property. Well, the day I get annexed, will sewers come down to me because I'm getting sewers now? I got people on my property right now doing business, not empty lots I'm waiting to sell. Will I have sewers come down the road as soon as they annex me in? Is that how it works? Or?
Well, not from day one, but.
I mean, it's not empty property. It's people who are there right now.
Yeah.
It won't be immediate.
I mean, not tomorrow. Would it be by next Thursday? Would it be 5 years down there? I mean, well, that's, I know you guys ain't talked about this yet.
It's when
but
you
it's a
need
question I
it.
have to ask.
It's within a reasonable time after you need it.
Well, if I didn't need it, then why should I get it in the first place? That's what my question is. If I don't need it
You
right
don't have
now,
to.
but I have to pay for it. No, if I don't take it,
No, you don't.
Yeah, they say they charge you whether you hook up or not.
That's if it's right next to you.
Oh,
and
okay.
you
If they're
elect
right,
not
if they're
to.
right
That's
on the
if
road to
it's
my
right
next
next
door
to you and
neighbor.
you elect not to.
If they're right to my next door neighbor, then I have to hook up to it.
Right.
Correct. Or pay the, okay. All right.
I think the other answer is you wouldn't have been able to get water if the cities wouldn't extend their services outside the city boundaries.
Right. We've had water since 1971.
Right, and the
We've
city
had
now
water.
did back
73,
when,
I think it is.
and now it's definitely, that they require a condition of getting water is agreeing to annex.
I'm not fighting the annex because I want to know if I'm getting something for my money. Because I have a business in the Sebring city limits. I have
Right.
my house in the city limits. I have property. I have no problem with the city. My thing is, what am I getting that I don't have now, and why should I have to pay extra for that? I don't need it. I don't. That's my question. That's my question. I mean,
Your water will cost a little bit less. But
Okay, that's about it. Huh?
about it.
But as far as the cost of my taxes, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, there's no percentage. 10,
It's
20,
5.3184
25.
mils, okay?
That's okay.
Okay, which would translate to $531.84 for a property valued at $100,000.
That's the way it works. Okay. So that would be on top of.
On top of the county
On top of the county,
millage,
okay.
the school board.
So if your
millage.
property's worth say
Say-
$500,000, I don't have to here, but then you're looking at $2,500, probably $2,800, right? I'm trying to get a number out of
Yeah,
it.
depending on, yeah.
And what I'm getting is a promise of sewers and the fire department.
I think the fire assessment rate will also drop as well, is that correct?
That's what I was wondering.
Your fire assessment rate will drop,
Okay.
given our current rates versus the county's rates.
solid rates
Your
will
insurance,
some- will
your
someday
insurance could
drop, and they
drop
get-
too, because our fire is rated at an ISO 2,
Okay.
which they rate from 1 to 10.
Okay.
The county's is a 5.
Okay.
So the better your fire rating, just because of the way they accredit us, or I guess they call it accreditation or something.
Right.
We have a higher fire rating, which drops insurance, potentially drops insurance rates. It's up to the insurance company, but that's
Okay,
another
potentially.
plus.
Okay, potentially I could save money on that.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And that's like I said, that's basically it, though, right?
What do you have for garbage?
We,
Pickup?
I rent all property. They could take care of their own garbage, right? So, I mean, whatever they do, they do. I mean, that's.
They have a private company or whatever?
Yeah, I guess so.
But our garbage
Well, I don't work on the
service-
property. We used to.
Yeah.
We don't anymore. So they take care of.
Well, if we were providing it, you would have better garbage service.
Okay.
And pickup.
But it's in the bill also.
You would with the county.
Correct.
Yeah, it's in the bill also.
City is cheaper
Yeah, you
than-
pay for it. The city is cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have a, just while I'm standing here, I gotta say this too. I have a piece of property on the parkway. It's commercial property. I have a garbage can there, and they won't pick it up because they don't like what I throw in the garbage can. Because it's commercial, they want me to throw residential stuff in this garbage can, which I don't have residential stuff. They will not pick my garbage can up. They charge me $76 a month for water and garbage. They won't pick the garbage up. If I cancel out the garbage, I can't have the water. That's but they won't pick up my garbage can because they don't like what I throw in it. We get crates shipped to us. We cut the crates up, throw the wood in the garbage. They won't pick it up. They won't pick all that stuff up. So that's sort of, you know.
By the way,
While I'm
you're-
saying it here, I may as well say that too.
Your vacant lot behind it is not included in the annexation.
What's that?
You have a vacant
Oh, right, the very
parcel
back one,
behind
right,
it,
okay.
and
Okay,
it is not
gotcha.
included.
Okay, that one stays, the third lot stays?
That will
Okay.
stay in the county.
All right. That was my question. I got the money part of it. I think that's what I was here for. All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, appreciate it. Anyone else? Any more comments? This public hearing is up.
He's coming up.
I didn't close it, but come on up.
Oh, I was getting sorry.
Just
I won't be,
celebrating.
I'll be brief because I want to save most of my comments for the next meeting. But Tom Griffin, I have property on 27. You know, I appreciate everybody being here and working hard for the city and the citizens. And I'm just a little, you know, there's a little bit of a jovial atmosphere here. But my comment tonight is that this is very serious.
Absolutely.
People have come up from the audience, and the answers that they're getting are somewhat vague. They're not totally accurate or honest. Bill just asked, what are my costs going to go up? We heard Al Valorum, what about your utility taxes that are going to go up? There's going to be many things that change. And he asked what I'm going to get for it. Everything that we're going to get for it, we already have. So my taxes going up $5,000 or $6,000 on a piece of property, that puts a burden on my company that makes me work harder or cut costs or have to change what I'm doing. And I'm not really, you say we're getting better service, the differences are minuscule. Okay? So my comment tonight is this is serious. This is serious for us property owners on 27 who do a lot for this community, who hire a lot of people. And I would appreciate that at the next meeting, we have good, concise answers. Or maybe we have a workshop between now and then, where people from the city and people from the county, whether you're getting annexed or not, can get together and really dig into this thing. Because this is serious business. And that's all I'd have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 10J, ordinance 1459, annexing property on US 27, Outback, Pier 1 area. First reading, background attached, you'll find ordinance 1459, ordinance will annex properties on US 27 north in the Outback, Pier 1 area. The property consists of 21 parcels totaling 22.46 acres. The ordinance is on your agenda for first reading. Second final reading will be on December 1st, 2020. Mr. Swain.
Ordinance number 1459 is entitled an ordinance annexing the property on US Highway 27 North in the Outback Pier 1 area, lying in a portion of the east half of Section 26, Township 34 South, Range 28 East, Highlands County, Florida, into the city of Sebring, Florida, and establishing an effective date.
Thank you. Any comments? Councilman?
Nope.
No? Okay. This is, we're not up here making jokes of this. This is important and serious. It's very important to keep our city moving, keep our city growing, bringing in more funds. You know, we as a city pride ourselves on a good police department, great chief, good fire department, great chief. I know not too long ago, my grandson's a firefighter. Not too long ago, from the time they got called till the fire was out was 8 minutes. 8 minutes. we have a great fire department. So you will get better service. If you hadn't had a fire, that's a great thing, because none of us want that.
Is there an interlocal agreement between the city of Sebring and the county of Highlands, since with our property, if it's annexed, we're already paying for the volunteer fire department, and yes, we would get the Sebring city, but who's gonna come and who's not gonna come? Is the city, or is the volunteer fire department not going to come any longer?
Good question. What the city and the county are working on is an interlocal that would provide, that the county would continue to provide the services in these areas through the end of this fiscal year, which would be the end of September 2021, and the city would take over after that. The way that some assessments are collected, some are, ad valorems are collected in arrears, looking back. Fire, for instance, is collected in advance. So
already paid.
the county is already going to be collecting as you're paying your bills for the fire assessment that would go through the end of September 2021. To avoid having you pay double for that, we are looking for an interlocal that would have the city's services begin October 1 of 2021.
Thank you.
Any more questions, comments? Get a motion.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1459, first reading, presented, scheduled second, final reading, December 1st.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Kathy. Can you poll the board, please?
Dutton.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lorenz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay. This is 10K health insurance, 1920 estimated and budget amendment. There you are.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Presented is a budget amendment. There is a loss currently of about $257,000 to the health insurance fund for the year ended September 30th, 2020. Those claims will continue to come in for up to a year. Most of them come in by January. We are cutting the numbers off now for audit purposes, and the number that is presented here is, you can see the expenses are $2,306,000, and the revenues were almost $2,048,000. So there is a deficit of $257,240. Presented here is a budget amendment that would charge the additional costs back to the city and to the departments that the employees reside in.
Okay.
This was a little bit less than what you had originally
Yes, sir.
thought.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Although it's gonna grow, because you're still dealing with people that are sick in our hospital and the bills are still happening.
The bills are still coming in. Yes, sir. So the last bill that I just received was
Thank you.
$70,000 for last year. And typically we estimate a $50,000 buffer. That's usually when we are cutting things off in January. I have included the $70,000 of claims that just came in, plus an additional $50,000 buffer.
In this number?
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Any other comment, question? Anyone from the audience want to speak on this? Need a motion?
I make a motion, we approve budget amendment number 179 as presented.
A second.
Motion and a second. Please, Kathy.
Dutton. Ivy.
Yes.
Lorenz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Penny. Moving right on to 12A, Sebring Police Officers Retirement Fund. Please find attached to the ordinance amendment of the Sebring Police Officers Retirement trust fund to maintain compliance with the IRS code. Mr. Swain.
The proposed ordinance is entitled, "An Ordinance of the City of Sebring, Florida, further amending the City of Sebring Police Officers Retirement Trust Fund, adopted pursuant to ordinance number 1308 as subsequently amended, amending section 7, pre-retirement death benefits, amending section 10, optional forms of benefits, amending section 16, minimum distribution of benefits, amending section 17, miscellaneous provisions, amending section 28, deferred retirement option plan, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date." The draft of that you're looking at has underlines and strike-throughs for the language is proposed to be changed.
Okay.
Don't believe that you will find any of these changes to be objectionable.
Right. Anyone got a comment?
Motion?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as presented on first reading and schedule second and final reading for December 1st, 2020.
Question for Mr. Swain.
Yes, sir.
Do I have to recuse myself since I am a beneficiary of this plan?
Yes, sir, I think that's probably a good thing.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so one of you down there going to have to second this?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Who seconded?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah. Okay, Kathy.
Denton,
I recuse myself from the
Ivy,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 12B, ordinance 1455, changing zoning for property located at
Both.
Huh?
Kim got both.
Oh, she did? Where's she at?
She's at the old agenda.
She's on
that her
13A.
next.
Huh?
You're on 12B, you're right.
Yeah.
She's on the older than, this was revised.
Don't be interrupting me.
Hey,
I
sorry
want Kim to be embarrassed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Ordinance 1455, changing zoning for property located on 2520 Lakeview Drive. First reading. Council on February 18th, 2020 held a public hearing to receive input on changing zoning and future land use of the property at 2520 Lakeview Drive by Javier. Yep. The applicant was requested that the future land use map amend from the minimum density residential to high density. This would have allowed 14 multi-family dwelling units and 2 single-family units for a total of 16. Following an input of the public, council did not pass the ordinance in first reading. This is a change. He changed his request to allow no more than 8 dwelling units. The request is to change the zoning from R1 to R1A to City PD. Attached, find the following. Zoning application to change zoning to R1 to R1A to City PD to allow for the total 8 dwelling units. Attachment 2, 1455, which is on your agenda for first reading. Please note the following. The public hearing before the City Planning and Zoning Board was held on Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. Planning and Zoning Board passed a motion to approve conditions as specified in the ordinance. If passed on first reading, a public hearing before the City Council will be on Tuesday, December the 1st, 2020, followed by a second and final reading. Mr. Swain?
Ordinance number 1455 is entitled, "An Ordinance Changing the Zoning Classification of a Portion of Lot 7, all of Lots 9 and 10, and a portion of Lot 19 in Block 111 of Lakeview Place lying in Section 20, Township 34 South, Range 29 East of Highlands County, Florida, from City R1 and R1A to City PD, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing an effective date."
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
For the record, I'm Brenda Torres with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council, and I have a presentation just to give a quick overview of the application. Planning and Zoning Board did meet on November 10th, and this is the first reading, and second reading is scheduled for December 1st. The request is for R1A single family 2 PD plan development. for 8 residential dwelling units. This had come before council before, so there was a former application, so we wanted to bring to the attention of everyone the current application and the difference between that and the former one. So before we had 14 multifamily dwelling units, now it's 7 multifamily dwelling units. Before it was 2 single family dwelling units, now it's 1 single family dwelling unit. Before we had 1 office, and then right now it's proposed for 1 shed and 13 parking spaces, and before we had 19 parking spaces. You can also see the difference in the density. There is no need for a land use, future land use amendment, since it falls under the current one for that property. We have provided the concept plan and rendering, and this is part of the plan unit development. So you can see there what the proposal is. We have provided recommended conditions of approval. So the PD is an approval for 8 dwelling units and provides a minimum of 13 parking spaces. The existing building shall be renovated to be significantly consistent with the rendering submitted. And prior to certificate of occupancy, the landscaping and buffering shall be installed consistent with the proposed landscape plan. Site lighting shall be still lighting and not mentioned sensor lighting, and then no outdoor storage shall be allowed. The change to the conditions, there was just one minor, and we have it here highlighted for you based on the Planning and Zoning Board's vote of 5-0 to forward the proposed rezoning to the City Council with a recommended approval with 1 change to the conditions. And that was that site lighting shall be still lighting and not motion sensor lighting. That is all.
And the applicant is here by Zoom, if you wish to hear from
Yes,
them or
hello,
have any
good
questions.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am here doing it online because I am trapped in another country due to COVID-19. So flights here are very scarce, and it's quite difficult to fly away from my country at the moment. So I'm gonna address you all through Zoom. It might be expected there is some delay on the communication. However, I will try to speak slowly, and if there's are questions, I will address them. I'm gonna make it brief and straightforward to all of you. I'm sorry to those I am giving my bag or not seeing in the face, but we are living in strange times. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for being here. I am pretty sure that COVID-19 affected to most of us in any ways. Despite these strange times with so many people living in despair, I would like to invite you to reflect on how lucky we are being here about to discuss a real estate project once again. Fortunately, officials, private citizens, and entrepreneurs might have agreed on solving this issue on 2520 Lakeview Drive. So this is why we are here today. As Brenda said, we might have an agreement. So I'm going to share my screen, and you will see a brief presentation that I made for you. I think that what into my presentation. So property comprehends blocks 9 and 7 and 19.
Javier, I think your signal is really low.
Everything being shown, yep.
Can you
It's
send
too
me
weak.
chat?
Really low.
Send him.
I'm going to try to speed it up. So the property is 3 lots. Everything being shown in this survey has existed in 1924, that is 96 years ago. At present, we have one house over here, and here we have in this U-shaped building, we have 13 units, most of them efficiencies, and then we have a big area, big green area at the back, and a car park over here. On the west and east side, we have neighbors who are aware of the project. Indeed, this neighbor over here and these two neighbors over here sold the house recently. And the most close neighborhood to our property is this one too. All of them are aware of this project, and I spoke with most of them, albeit the COVID-19 situation. Let me move forward. Oops. Erase. Sorry. This is a property used to look like in 1924, 1985. How it might look in a few months or in a short time. The property was built in 1924 by J.C. Barrow, which was a mandate of Mr. Sebring, and in that time the idea was to populate and bring new investment, as one of the council members said today, bring new investment, new funds and new investment to Sebring. Well, that was one of the goals of this property. At present, this property is not listed neither in local nor federal historical landmark records. In August 2019, we purchased this property in cash to Mr. Miller through a realtor agent, Mr. Tom Barrett from Remax, who is sitting over there. In case my communication drops or something happens to me in this communication, he knows how to handle this. Then in November last year, we requested a permit to the building department, which was denied due to section 2638. In January 2020, I requested a new zoning, but it was put on hold by City Council due to concerns on parking and number of total units at that time. Then in January, COVID entering our lives, and that is history right now. But at that time, the City Council made the following comments to be taken into consideration for the second public hearing. Present blueprints of the new proposal, present blueprints of parking, present landscaper proposal, and all of these blueprints signed by an architect or by an engineer. And then downsize total dwellings at the property. As Brenda said, we are downsizing from 14 to 8. All these blueprints have been presented to you. It's on the file, and it has been presented to the city officials, signed by an engineer, in this case, Tim Marie. So almost a year ago, we bought this property, and now we are missing you again. So what we're requesting today, as I said, we're requesting a new zoning from R1 to PUD, downsize it, number of dwellings to 8 from 14. Parking can accommodate up to 13 vehicles on site. Also, management might have a database with tenants' information, and guest parking is restricted. We're going to remodel and make cosmetic changes to the property has been shown on the plans that you have on the file, which all follows FSB and NEC and the Fraud Prevention Code. So everything is done by the book. Our business model seeks to solve one of the problems of Sebring, which is affordable housing. And in our case, we are addressing, or we want to solve the problem of single families and professionals, such as medical staff, educators, or public officials who want to spend the rest of their lives at Sebring. Now let me show you how the properties are going to look like in the blueprints. we're gonna have in the U-shaped building 8 units in total. 7 are gonna be here. We will have 5 one-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. 5 one-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 2 units, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and 1 unit, 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom. So I'm gonna mark it down for you to see it without trouble. Sorry. This one is 1 unit. This one is 1 unit. This one is another unit. Another unit. And here we have 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and a laundry. Here another 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And lastly, an efficiency over here. Our unit size is almost 600 square feet. All the apartment will have water heater, water meter, AC units, mini splits, bathroom with shower, walk-in closet, interior kitchens, and new plumbing, electrical, and flooring, and new appliances. Also, all the units will share linen areas and a laundry. And all of this has been signed by Team Marine, which you will see over here. Lastly, the house will have 2 bedrooms and a family room and its own backyard. The house, once again, will have its own water meter, new appliances, AC units, walk-in closet, and so on. The same as the other units. The only difference between this one and the other unit is its size. This one is almost a little bit more of 1,000 square feet. Lastly, regarding the parking, this also has been signed by Team Marine. Parking can accommodate up to 13 vehicles, as I said before. Let me mark it down for you. Here we have the parking. Parking has 1 handicap space. So having 8 units and 13 parkings puts us over in a very situation regarding the code. The code section 26/209 requires 1 parking per unit. So we're giving 62% more than is requested by the code. Here we have all the 13 parkings, and over here we have the handicap. And obviously, then the last meeting, one of the neighbors request or have a complaint about the lightings. Well, the lighting will be permanent and will illuminate the parking permanently. Lastly, the landscape proposal, we're gonna put some lower hedges on both limits and install some shade across the property. Also, this has been signed by an architect, a landscape architect, Steve Patinas. Steve Patinas. And this is how the property may look like if we are able to run it, if we get approval. We're not gonna change it's a Spanish style. We're gonna keep it like it is, but we're gonna remodel it, installing new windows, new doors, and make it new flooring, new plumbing, etc., etc. This is how the property may look like at night. I think it is much better than its current state, where we already have some troubles with people who broke doors, windows. Also, one of my guys was also shot on sight by one of the neighbors. So I think that current is not any use for any of us. So that's what I have to show you. Now you should watch my face. So, any questions? I would address it. Are more than welcome. More than welcome.
Any questions?
I have one,
So he did, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He's got on there that he wants a shed also. Where is that going to be?
Javier, can you show us where the shed is going to be located?
Yes, sure. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm moving through my. Let me. Now, can you watch my screen?
We can see your screen, yes, sir.
I am showing you the non-pay proposal. Sorry? The shade trees are gonna be here,
Where?
here, here, here.
The question is the shed, not shade trees, the shed.
Look.
Where's your shed gonna be at?
Storage shed for bicycles.
In the back.
It's here,
So
Charlie.
small, I couldn't see it, so.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's
it.
off back to
Sure.
the building at the PNC
Right.
meeting. I don't think we got a shed.
Right. And they'll have to actually code that, it has to be coded as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to say that, he did everything we asked him to do.
He
He
did.
lowered
So all the trees are gonna be here, here, and here would be the
mute him.
the lower edges,
No, we,
and here gonna be small trees too.
Javier, we've got the answer we were looking for.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So the size of the units has grown dramatically. He dropped it from 14 to 8. I like everything he's done, and I'm a proponent of passing this one.
Well, I actually had a person from the neighborhood talk to me about it, and he said he's for it.
Good, good.
Let me make a comment to everyone. I attended the P&Z meeting last Tuesday, and similar questions, amongst many other questions, were brought to Javier's attention, and he answered them to the satisfaction of the city P&Z board, to the area residents that were here, and there were probably 3 or 4 residents, if I'm not mistaken, who were here. And I only had one question, and I didn't, it was starting to get a little bit long, so if you can reintroduce this question to him now for me. Lighting in the actual courtyard area. I don't see anything on the plans where you would have lighting over or next to any of the main entrance doors to the, what is it, 4, 5, 6, 7 units within the main building.
So that's code.
That's code?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're good with that.
Am I correct? Yeah, it's code. He has to do that.
Okay, so I guess what I'm bringing to you this evening is that all of the questions were answered. It was unanimously approved by the P&Z board, and like Mr. Stewart, I'm very comfortable with it, and I would vote to approve it.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to make any comments?
Jan Whitelaw. I was just wondering, affordable, does that mean low income, medium, or what? Because it says affordable, what income?
Well, that's really not our
No, it's,
purview, though.
no,
So
it's not really
Right.
y'all's
His-
concern.
His intent on there, he showed that it was like medical staff,
medical staff?
nursing,
Firefighters, police
educators.
officers.
Okay.
So it's kind of a work.
It would
it's
be a
not-
holding place for people, like a visiting nurse.
Or somebody that might be permanent, yeah.
Okay,
So-
all right. Okay, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And do we have to schedule that public hearing for, at the second and final reading then, on December 1st?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We need a
You making a
motion.
motion?
Yeah, yeah, I'll go ahead and make that as a motion then. That we, you want me to restate it? To approve the ordinance on first reading as presented and schedule a public hearing, followed by the second and final reading on December 1st.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Hold the board, Kathy, please.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Levin.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Thank you, Javier.
Said thank you, you
Thank
passed.
you so much. I'm sorry for not being there.
That's okay.
There you go, there's your thumbs up, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Next is the 13A, Resolution 2020-44, establishing utility rates for 2020-2021. Kim.
Hello. Kim Shands, for the Record Administrative Coordinator for Utilities Department, here for Bogus. So I just want to present the resolution 2020-44 for establishing rates for December 1st. We did do, we put the notice on the bills, so we notified the public. And it's going to be a 5% increase. Looking for increased revenue of around $337,000. Do you have any questions?
I just want to make the comment that I do think that this is something that we need to take a look at each and every year as prices do go up. You know, unfortunately, that's the way it is, and we're going to have to take a look at this each year, though, instead of waiting 5 or 10 years. With that being said, I'll make a motion for the resolution 2024 as presented.
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second. Any more comments? Kathy?
Sutton.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Levin.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 13B, Sebring Women's Club property, Mr. Nateman.
Good evening, council. I've been approached by at least 4 different entities that have expressed interest in leasing the women's club property on the other side of the lake across from Vets Beach. So we're seeking council's guidance as to whether or not you'd like us to put out some type of RFP where we could entertain proposals. These folks are interested in leasing the property in some fashion or form, potentially doing improvements on the property. And then a follow-up question to that would be, would you like us just to bring the RFPs back to council, or would you like to establish a committee to review those RFPs and make a recommendation to council?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I think it's a
Especially
great
if we can get
idea.
them to do the improvements.
I think it's a great idea. It's just sitting there now. We can make some money on it and get maybe the building fixed up.
I have a couple comments about it. First thing I want to say is y'all probably remember when the city purchased it. I think it's a tough position for the city to be in a landlord business, and especially when we inevitably lose money doing that. So if we do go on with a RFP on this, I just want to say that I'm concerned that we do it in such a way to where we're not losing money. So the $1 a year stuff, I think we just need to forget that.
Absolutely.
And the 30-year leases, I think we need to forget that. We purchased this property because we thought we might need it sometime in the future.
Right.
Not 30 years down the road probably, maybe in 5 years. And if we ask for RFPs, I think the people that might put those in need to understand that there's limits on this, and that, yeah, if they go in and do some improvements, great. But if we did a 3-year or 4-year or 5-year lease, that we may want it back at that time. So, yes, we want them to do some improvements and to get it to their standards, to what they need it for, but by the same token, it's not gonna be a super long-term thing. So those are my concerns with it if we do it, if we do an RFP. And I would like the people to know up front that this isn't a forever deal. You know, we may not get as much interest that way, I don't know. But again, if it's, you know, if the city owns it, you know, we purchased it with the possibility of using it at some point and not just leasing out to people.
Well, I agree with you, this dollar a year stuff's gotta go. And I don't think you'd have a problem with somebody wanting it for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that they'd want to put a lot of money in it for 1 or 2 or 3. But I think, do what?
I think the minimum would be 5 years if somebody wants to put some money in.
Right, I think so too. So I think that's a great idea. I think we probably need to do it. Won't hurt to look.
Any thoughts? Would you like to have a committee? Or would you like to have, you know, some folks listen to what the proposals are?
I think staff ought to put this together.
I think the mayor's tired of committees.
Personally, I would like to
Maybe
see it in
they
front
did,
of the
but-
entire council, because I think it's a big deal.
Do what now?
I'd like
Well,
to
I
see
think
it brought
yeah, but I think-
in front of the entire council.
I think it has to come to the council, but I think to weed it out or to put it together,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
should be
think you need a
staff.
committee. I think staff is
So
pretty.
you'd like us to shortlist it?
Staff
Yes.
can rank
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Right.
that sounds good.
And bring that to the council. I don't think you have to bring them all and then we sit here and weed them out.
Right.
Right.
I think we have somebody who wants to, come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ralph Flores. I'm 2 doors down from the Women's Club, and it's important to see what we're gonna put there. That is gonna bring something good to the community instead of a lot of traffic like we talked about,
Right.
bringing the boys' club there. That was a crazy idea, but let's study who is gonna be moving in there, because we have enough problem with the park already in traffic. I think, which eventually might be done, the ramp. I heard by what's August it's gonna be finished? September?
2 years.
That's not a problem. But
we
the
didn't
whole
say
thing
what
is
year.
trying to get something there that's gonna improve the community instead of messing it up with whatever they're gonna do. So, something to think about when you get all these offers.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll come and let us know what you think too when they come present offers.
I try coming to all the meetings, even though it had nothing to do with me, but
Thank you.
keep you guys in line.
He ain't done a very good job with you. So you gonna take care of that, Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All righty. Well, you know, last but not least,
Let me say it. Councilman needs to approve the payment of bills.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Would you like to pull the board?
I would, thank you, sir. Yes. Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yep.
Carl.
Yes.
And I have one question.